We're gonna let a few minutes of people file in, and we're also gonna make sure the LinkedIn Live. Well, I'm not gonna make sure. I'm just gonna press go, and I already did. So if you're on LinkedIn Live, please know it's we want you to ask questions. It's a little hard for us personally to watch that LinkedIn Live while we're chatting, but if you ask any questions that we don't get to, we'll answer them later. Okay. Hi, everyone. Please post where you're from, what company, what region of the world, and why you joined today. What interests you about talking with us about our Ask Me Anything with a Creator series? I know our audience is mostly marketers, but occasionally we get security folks on as well. And super, super, super excited. Hi, everyone. Hey, Pat. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me on tonight or today. It's still
How
tonight in my head.
We had our New York City meetup yesterday of the Cybersecurity Marketing Society. We got home at like 1:30 a.m. and therefore it's
Mm,
still tonight for me too.
hmm.
Calgary, hey Jake, how you doing? Sam's on. Oh, Scotland. Wow, we
Sweet.
got folks from everywhere. Delaware. Heck yeah. That's a state. Portland. Okay. Amazing. Filigran in the house. Hi, Cindy. Awesome. So I'm going to pull up a very quick deck. Anyone here who knows me knows that that for this specific series that we're doing, it's not deck heavy. I'm going to take the deck down right away, but I'm just going to walk through like, what is this series? What are we doing? And give a little bit more background info on Pat since we have our special guest, Johannesburg. Wow, people from everywhere. Hello, everyone. All right. So, welcome to our Behind the Cyber Creator series. Um, boop. so, who is the Cybersecurity Marketing Society? So, we're a global members based organization that helps marketers be successful. Marketers specifically in the cybersecurity industry. And why does that matter? Well, it matters because without being able to market and sell quality security products and services, the defenders can't defend and the bad guys win. We do all sorts of things to help further the marketing in cyber industry, including events, education, community, careers. We have resources for you. We have databases. We know which vendors are good and which ones aren't. We have lists. We have data. And we have the collective knowledge of 4,400 marketers and about 1,600 security products and services companies in our community. And I'm Gianna Whitford, by the way, one of the co-founders of the group. We also want to thank Mishka Agency. Mishka is one of my top favorite influencer agencies. They work on the brand side. So they partner with brands, cybersecurity brands in particular, to match them with creators and influencers in the cybersecurity space to deliver on campaigns. So if you're thinking, hey, we want to go big with a campaign in like Q3, but we don't know exactly what sort of additional channels we can reach or how to expand our voice or how to gain the trust of the security audience, hey, reach out to Mishka. They will help you identify creators, set up parameters around campaigns, advise on pricing, and negotiate on your behalf, as well as just be awesome. They're very extremely awesome. I love Yulia and Aiva. They are so on top of things, which is also good because as marketers, sometimes there's a lot going on. Thank you, Mishka. Awesome. We have this is a series, so Chris is not on today. He'll be on our next one. We're kind of setting these up 1 month in advance, so he will be on our next Cyber Creator series. Couple of housekeeping items is the questions. Can you submit questions? Yes, it's like an AMA, and that's how it was originally styled. So we want your questions. What do you want to know about Patrick? What do you want to know about Patrick's background or his tech or his story or his window, which we we're talking about in the pre, or ISP or being a creator. This obviously I have a million questions and I could go on forever, but we want your questions too. It's also recorded and it will be available via replay on the Breaking Through in Cybersecurity Marketing podcast on the Cyberwire Network, as well as our YouTube and our channels as well. And there's also going to be a giveaway. If you ask a great question, you will win a sweatshirt from Mishka. So make sure to ask an amazing question so you can win a sweatshirt. Okay. So I was told, and sorry, Pat, because you haven't said like anything yet, but I was told that I go around in a lot of like crazy like rabbit holes on these. So we have to have more of a focus. And I trust the people who tell me things like this. So we're going to focus a little bit on being a creator on LinkedIn and creating an authentic voice, which Patrick Gorman is freaking fantastic at.
Mm.
But I put in the bold red letters, and we're going to allow ourselves to go down a few other rabbit holes as well, because I, of course, also want to talk about Patrick's story and how he grew his businesses. So, and for those of you who don't know Patrick Gorman, aka InfoSec Pat, and the co-founder and CEO of ISP Security, InfoSec Pat slash Patrick is a cyber creator with an awesome audience. He is an offensive security absolute expert, I would say. Pat, jump in if you disagree. I don't think you will. and he also has a lot of channels he operates on and creates content on. He's a media brand in himself, and he is also the founder of ISP Security, which is so cool, a pen testing firm with a super sick, slick website, I gotta say. All right, I'm
Oh,
gonna
thank
stop
you.
talking. Stop sharing, stop talking, pull our faces up. Patrick, thank you so much for being on the show today.
No, thank you. Appreciate it. And I appreciate all the kind words, and it's very humbling. I try to be, I don't think I'm an expert at anything. I'm always learning. I know what I know and I don't what I don't. And I'm very aware of that. So I think that's important to convey to the audience, because I don't think we'll ever be an expert in anything. If you say you're an expert, I think you're a fibber. But that's just my opinion, right? Um,
Oh, I love it.
yeah, because I can say I'm an expert at something, like even though I have like expert in a certification and there's like an expert in the title, like what attack happens today may be obsolete tomorrow. So now I have to recreate an attack path for that new technique, right? So like there's always a new way, and that's why staying on top of it, it's a evolving world of learning. Absolutely. So yeah.
I love it. I love the way you think, and I agree with you. Like you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know a lot. But I would say you're an expert maybe at figuring things out. We could say that maybe. Like I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
that's pretty good.
maybe. I'm a good Googler. I'm a good Googler.
Awesome. So we have our first question in the chat, which is very aligned. It's from Monique. Monique wants to know, tell us about yourself and how you became successful in this way. So how did you build your brand, Patrick? How did you build your brand, your content, your audiences? Give us the Patrick Gorman story.
Ooh, if we had 10 hours, I would. But yeah, in a short suite, so during COVID, there was a time that was me and a couple of friends. We were studying for something called PCNSE, Palo Alto Certified Security Engineer, I believe. So what we were doing, we were going back and forth, on I think it was Google Meets or something like that. And then like I would showcase a technology like site-to-site VPN, or another one would show static routing or dynamic routing or whatever it is, right? So what we ended up doing is I was the first one to set up the lab because I guess I had the most powerful machine in the group. So I set
Mhm.
up something called EVE-NG. So EVE-NG is pretty much a emulated environment that we can install real iOS or real images from the network devices like a firewall, a switch, a router, etc. So I set up an EVE-NG uh, server. I set up Palo Alto in VMware Workstation,
Mhm.
and I was starting to, and then I use something called WireGuard for VPN access on a different ISP that I had. So they would VPN into my house and study. So one friend's like, dude, you should throw this on YouTube. This is the God honest truth. I never watched a YouTube video before 2020. I never really watched YouTube. So if anyone had a YouTube video prior to that, I never seen them. So all the influencers or all the content creators, whatever you want to call them, I started learning about them after COVID. So
Mhm.
shout out to everyone that's putting out cool content. Yeah, and that's pretty much how I started, the InfoSec Pat thing. And funny story is my first video is how to install Palo Alto in VMware or something like that. And you can tell like the audio, everything was really rubbish. And then my second one, because I that's when I started Googling or YouTubing, whatever, searching for other content creators that are doing cool things that I wanted to do. Like, oh,
Mhm.
how do you hack your girlfriend's Instagram? Something clickbaity. And, and there was a tool that I used to use that a friend of mine created that it's sort of like Z Fisher or one of these GitHub tools that it generates local a local website, and then it goes out and it tunnels through. Um, so anyhow, like I had, forwarding tunnels, and I created an own website to host some stuff. So, and then I got flagged. So I got a strike, and I had like 10 subscribers, and I told my friends, I'm like, dude, this is not for me because
You don't like, you're like, I don't like to YouTube anymore.
yeah,
Yeah.
literally like, and I'm like, okay, so now I need to find out where my quote unquote brand is, because my first probably 100 or 150 subscribers, my channel wasn't called InfoSec Pat. I think it was called like Pat's IT Labs or something like
Hmm.
that. And but I wanted to focus on information security. If it's cybersecurity, if it's hacking, if it's network security, anything in that space.
Hmm.
So then I was like, okay, I want to give this another try. And then I want to focus on network security, setting up Palo
Hmm.
Alto, setting up Checkpoint.
Right.
So
Ties
that's,
right back to what you were learning with your
yeah.
friends. Hmm.
Yep. So yeah, and that's when, if you see like work playlists and all that stuff, it was mostly like firewall driven stuff. And then I did like a Microsoft 2019 playlist,
Yeah.
and that took off. And I was just
So
doing a lot of,
you just started creating content around what you were learning, is what I'm hearing, right?
no,
And
it's
what you
not
were
what I was
exploring.
learning,
Okay.
not so much what I was learning, because the Microsoft stuff I've been doing for at that point 14 years. It was just like giving back to the, because I'll say this, I know it's recorded. So like I used to use CBT nuggets for a lot of learning. And Keith Barker, his name, shout out to Keith. Like he was a big, big influence in my life, like just from like learning from him.
Hmm.
And I was like, man, I literally, and now I can call him a friend. So thank you, to the Lord, whatever, to put me in a path with this dude. And I just said to myself, I'm like, I want to be like Keith one day. Just the way he trains is so natural and so on and so forth. And so, yeah, I just started like making videos and teaching what I already knew,
Hmm.
because I already knew Palo Alto. I was just doing it with my friends to, do the certification.
Do the certification. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Uh,
yeah, so that's pretty much, and then it snowballed, and things started going. And then here we are 6 years later.
Was there like, so yeah, so you're just like creating, it's like 2020-ish. You're like, okay, let's all work on this Palo Alto certification together. You do your first YouTube video, and then you're like, hey, I like this other, you start exploring YouTube. You're like, I like the way this other guy, he gives back, he teaches, he has great videos. Why not me? I'll do it too. So you try that out. Was there like any sort of um like piece of content, you said it started to snowball, was there anything that you started to see really great success in where you're like, oh, this type of content really works?
Yeah. So still to today, I don't even want to like jinx it. Like my most viewed video is how to hack a Wi-Fi network.
Okay.
And maybe the way I said it, instead of like hack, I put how to penetrate, or use like different terminologies. So like if you go to my channel, you put most viewed, it has like 1.2 million or something like that on that video. And it's funny because I get a lot of crap about it. It's like, oh, this is fake. Like I'm showing the methodology of doing it, and I'm using my own word list. And then I was like, okay, I need to find out a way to showcase a quote unquote real one.
Mm-hmm.
So I made a video, I think it was last year or something like that. I was doing a friend's internal assessment for a friend's company, actually for one of his clients. It was an MSP. I did a pen test for his, for his client. Anyhow, they did an internal and a Wi-Fi pen test. And so I used a tool called Fern.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of pretty much like the same kind of, you capture the handshake, the four-way handshake, blah, blah, blah. You crack, you throw it through a word list.
Mm-hmm.
And when I ran it through a word list, because I have my own generated word list that I don't display on YouTube, right? I just do YouTube to display the the methodology of the technique, demonstrating how it's done. So I forgot the password. I would have to rewatch the video, And then I'm like, wow, these passwords are really weak. And people are like, oh, this is not real. And I'm like, this exact engagement, this exact password, I found this week on an engagement. And you'll be surprised on even internal, any pen testers that watch this, like if I did you know, a web app and I found, a basic logon script, a logon, and it was admin for getting into their portal. So there's things
I
like
think
that.
everyone here would believe you, by the way. This is all security industry folks. Even the marketers know that like there's still a lot of stuff set up with like the password is password or password 123.
Yep, yep. And there's like internal assessments that I've done, founding network switches that are using Cisco. There's like encryptions called like Cisco encryption 5 or 7.
Mhm.
And then you can just use like crack state or some kind of crack station for Cisco encryptions, and you can just crack them, right? And SSH or Telnet over the TTY lines or whatever the case may be. And it's like, this is real world. Like
Yeah.
this is not just some lab. Sometimes the labs are harder than the real world. And I even say that, like, if you're doing a hack the box machine, these are harder, more difficult than an actual real engagement. Even the certifications, I'm going to be 100% honest. Like, yeah.
Wow. So the content was also like real life stuff, right? So it's like, you're a practitioner. So you're
Hmm.
doing the actual work. You were doing a pen test for your buddy who owns the MSSP or the MSB, right? So you were doing that and able to talk about it like super relatably and authentically in your content
Yes,
because you
ma'am.
you live in it. You do it.
Hmm.
It's not like theoretical. It's like, hey, I did see admin in the real world. I did see this sort of stuff, and you have that like authentic one. You have a very authentic presence, I would say,
I appreciate that.
Patrick. Like, and two, you could speak very technically, as we could tell on this call already. That you walk the walk, basically.
Yeah.
Like you're the real deal. I think.
Yeah. I try to be. And it's funny because, and this is something about the whole, I hate to use the word influencer or content creator, whatever the word is, giving back to the community. I would rather say I do than versus like being influencer because I don't want to, don't walk my life, walk your own life, right? Um, but at the end of the day, like sometimes if you're going to get into this space, like if anyone's that's ever saying, oh, I want to become a video creator or a content creator, whatever, be ready for the hate too, because not everything, me personally, I don't put everything where I worked, right? For 6.5, like I've worked multiple jobs over the last 10 years. It's not on my LinkedIn. No one knows where I work. Still till today, no one knows where, ISP security, yeah. But like where I had my day job or my full-time job, I never conveyed that. I never talk about that because that's my personal stuff, right?
Mhm.
And when I hear people say, oh, you never did this, you never did that, you just never seen it, right? You don't know
Yeah.
what's happening behind the camera, right? You have no idea who I am. So
Hmm.
and you're right. And whatever how I am off camera, I am on camera. So thank you for that compliment about being authentic. Like obviously I'm keeping everything. When we first met, how I think I was a little more explosive, but I'm just trying to be a little more pro. But at the end of the day, like I am me and I'm, even like the recent video, like this is a God honest truth, how I grew up. I know we're going down a rabbit hole. When
Hmm.
I grew up, if I met you at school, you will never know where I live. So my grandmother had a friend, so we would meet. So if someone ever wanted to rob my house, or if I did something, they're gonna go to that house. They're never gonna they don't know where I live. I
This
had
is
friends
this
for
is
20.
this is the beginning of like a extremely private and like privacy focused into it's like the perfect career for you, honestly, Patrick. Like, except for the creator side. The creator
Yeah,
stuff makes you a public figure,
yeah,
but cybersecurity is often full of people who are very interested in privacy and security and
absolutely.
like not and being hidden.
Yeah.
Monique had a comment. Don't you feel you need to list your company in your LinkedIn for branding or to get other professional work? Like, do you
Yeah,
feel,
ISP is up there. ISP,
yeah,
but never my day job.
Okay, yeah, I think, and this is the same thing that Henri Davis said on our last Creator AMA, Monique. Like he doesn't list his day job either. I think it's interesting, like Patrick, when you become a creator, right? It's like you don't want to mix the two. You don't want to
Hmm.
mix the two together, and you don't want people to know where if you have a day job.
Yeah, if
I
someone
think
has
for
hate, then they're going to go after me or that. There's reasons why I do the way I do my things.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's absolutely. And there's falls in line with questions that were in the Q&A section too. Um, Cindy wants to know, and I also want to know, like, what sort of, because okay, you're building your YouTube, you're starting to post helpful videos. If we just back up a little bit,
Yep.
you're posting, you have these playlists, you have how to hack Wi-Fi, you're starting to grow it. Like, what sort of ingredients for the success there? Like, what sort of deliberate actions did you take? Because I think at a certain point you had to realize, like, hey, this is something that's not just a hobby, it's something I can like keep doing
Mhm.
to grow like a real audience and like a real business. So like when did you start to realize this was like a potential business for you? Like InfoSec Pat was not
Ooh,
just a fun side thing, but like a real thing.
yeah, that's a good question. I think it was when I got approached to keynote at a conference, and that was 3 years ago now,
Hmm.
2023. So yeah, 2023. I was asked to keynote at a local conference where I'm at, or where I was at that point in time in my life. And I was like, whoa, this is weird. Like, and they wanted me to keynote about something that, like, about my life. And I didn't do it at that time. So I did do it recently, but we can get into that. Like, I was like, I don't feel comfortable talking about my private life. I'll talk about, how to get into cyber, or,
Hmm.
coming up from a struggle, getting it into cyber. But I'm not going to give you my life story in the sense of, because first of all, I'll probably cry on stage, and I don't want to put my family business out there because they're a big influence of how I became who I became. Right. So that was more of my, like, I'll just talk about, coming from the hood, going, making it out and stuff like that. But I'm going to leave some stuff out because there's some private stuff.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, that's
So that's
how.
when you knew, though. They were like, they reached out to you. They were like, "Hey, Patrick Gorman, we want
Yep.
you on stage at our conference." Like
Yeah.
that was it, right? Like they like so that's when you knew. You're like, "Hey, like people are asking for me." So that must mean I have something to give that's like a little bit more sustainable than making fun videos on YouTube, right?
Yeah,
So,
and I think it boils down to, because, like I said, like on my videos, that's my element. I can talk the way I talk. I'm going to say what I want to say. If you don't like it, you kick rocks, go away,
mhm.
right? So obviously, this is your element, so I'm being in your element, right? But if I'm in my element, I'm going to speak the way I speak. If you don't like it, you know, like I said,
Yeah,
go kick rocks and your
blank
shoes off.
yourself.
Yeah,
So,
go.
how do you balance that? Because we're kind of transitioning now into like the LinkedIn and the professional, and there's a lot of marketers. Like the people on our live are mostly marketers. Like put in the chat, are you a marketer? Are you a security person? Right. So when marketers work with influencers and creators and people who make content, right? Um, like, and when marketers even create our own content, we have to be. Oh, sorry, there's a question. Oh yeah. Okay, cool. Right. So you have you're building your own brand, an authentic brand. Like now you are like a bigger creator. So people want to work with you. And you also are expanding into other channels, right? Like so you got your LinkedIn, which is like a professional network, and you have
Mm,
your own company too, right?
mm,
ISP. So you have to sell services to companies that are more like less like people who are just watching you on YouTube because they like you,
yeah.
Patrick, and more like people who are like buying a service for a decent amount of money and expect some level of, like a certain way things operate
Yep. A
in
certain
business.
result. A certain result.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that's where I thought it was going to be easy, right? And I remember this was wishful thinking. I was like, because I started my company last year legally, right? Before,
Hmm.
like, oh, 1099, I'll do a pen test here and there and, do some independent contracting. But last year, I finally went public with my LLC and everything like that. And I told myself, oh, this is going to be a piece of cake. I have this following, InfoSec Pat. And not to realize all the people that watch me are people learning the technology, learning how to do something. They're not decision makers trying to buy services because, I wasn't selling services. I was doing courses or I was doing content to give back. And then when I made my LLC, I was like, oh, this is, I want to have this in the bag. And then I started like telling people about it. And I'm like, oh, snap, this is a lot more difficult than I thought. And yeah, so, still till today, right? Like I'm expanding. I'm doing not only offensive security, I'm doing defensive security now. So I'm expanding that into SOC as a service and doing other stuff, IR, incident response, digital forensics, because a lot of people don't know my back. I do digital forensics. I've done all that world, going to court and going through that stuff. And I really enjoyed it, but that's more like law enforcement. But yeah, um, I don't know. Now I'm going down a rabbit hole
I know
again.
we're both are. It's fun. I told you this is a rabbit hole podcast. I think you know. So how are you balancing? Because now you're still creating content, right? So now you have like your the people who care about your courses and you're getting into cyber education stuff, and then there's folks who want to buy your services. So how are you balancing content creation for both of these audiences, right? Because there's only one Patrick Gorman. I know you have a team now, which is awesome, or more of a team, but like there's
Hmm.
only you. So how are you like from an operational perspective keeping all the trains running?
Yeah, that's a beautiful question. So I am blessed that I have a good team for ISP security, people that do pen testing, marketing, helping me with stuff on the back end. So I do have an awesome, awesome team, and I'm super grateful. If anyone's tuning in because I did send the link to my team, I'm super grateful, and I tell them every day. So as far as the content, I try to do is, I do my weekly podcast, Thirsty Thursday, whenever I can. Obviously, having some personal stuff that went on the last couple months and stuff like
Mhm.
that, it's been a little tough to. I have a schedule. I put a little like the cleaning ladies came, so they took my sticker off. But I had a sticker that says like one weekly video post. And I try to switch it up because I don't know, like, oh, how to get into cyber in 2025, how to get into cyber in 2026. So it's really, really hard to like really truly change it up and not be repetitive. It's like a rapper trying not to say the same lyrics in the same, and it's really
Yeah.
difficult, right? It's really, really difficult. So now with having ISP security, now I can transition into more of the business aspect. Okay, you know, using stuff that I learned or that I've seen in the real world and transitioning this into not just, oh, like for an example, I was talking to a friend and I want to probably sneak peek. I'm going to be making a video very shortly, probably this weekend, about pre 2K. So pre 2K is, in Active Directory, you can click a check mark if you create a new computer. Then if you have this, you can exploit it. And it's a weak thing, blah, blah, blah. And I remember talking to a friend about this, I don't know, a month ago or so. He goes, dude, you won't see this shit. You won't see this stuff anymore. And I'm like, maybe one day, you know. And 2 weeks ago, I did, right? And I was able to leverage this vulnerability because there's misconfiguration in AD, blah blah blah. So I created my own lab,
Hmm.
and I'm going to showcase because if you see that, what is the indication that it's there, right? How do you know it's there? So what I'm going to do is I set up my own AD environment, set this up so we can create a computer name test or demo, whatever, YouTube, and then have uh, this configuration enabled. I'm going to do it on 2019 server because it's better to do it on an older version. Because if your domain controller is not all up to 2022, 2025, you still have whatever. It's all the nerdy stuff. But so I'm going to actually showcase this in real time and how I can leverage it. How can I change my password? How can I use these tools? And now how can I log into a computer, not even having a password, right? So it's pretty cool stuff. So now to answer your question, how I'm starting to stay relevant now is like taking real world stuff, mocking that or mimicking that in my environment, and then
Hmm.
trying to make a video on that real world stuff.
Is there like a goal to that type of video? Like, are you like, I think that would appeal, I think, probably to someone who maybe like runs that side of the house inside of a company, right? Like, hey, here's a real example from a company that I've worked with, right? But do you set goals for your videos or for your content? Do you have like, if I create this, I want it to reach this type of person and I want it to hit this number. Like, do you do any of that?
No, no. Because if
Cool.
I think numbers, I'll drive myself insane, right? I do it for fun and I just put the video out and I don't even really check them, to be honest. Like,
Really?
no, I just put the video out. I put it on, LinkedIn, my YouTube, my Twitter, my Instagram, whatever, and let it do its thing, right? Once a week, I'll check my comments because I used to get like crazy, crazy comments. So now, and I always say this, I'm like, if you're going to say something malicious or be an a-hole, no one's going to see it because I delete them. So
No.
you're wasting your time. So
That's
if you
I
see,
feel like that's a good best practice for everyone listening to. Like if people are making mean comments on your security company content, like you could probably just delete it. Like who cares?
yeah, yeah, and because you always have these haters, and the thing is with me, I used to make it get to me, and how I used to handle it was a lot different than I do now, because of my upbringing, because of my short fuse. I was very different 3 or 4 years ago, to be 100% transparent, because I never got into the public. I didn't have my government name anywhere on the internet, like I was very, very private, and not because of
Yeah.
cyber, just because I grew
Yeah,
up in
because
the
how you grew
era.
up.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
there's always people trying to get over, trying to connive you or whatever. So I had incidents where people, a lot of people know now, like I grew up with a learning disability. So reading was
Mm.
never my forte. So like I was reading something and someone made a comment that I read like I have Down syndrome. And it
Oh, that's
really,
not
really,
nice.
yeah. So the rest was history, right? I'll keep
Right.
it
So
at that.
right. So that's the sort of stuff you have to grow like a very thick skin. And then if you want to like again continue to like become
Hmm.
more of like a business, like
Exactly. You
you
have
have
to
to
put stuff
like
to the wayside. Yeah.
yeah. So
And with
um
that, like, just my last comment on that, like, if you're gonna, this is maybe, I'm gonna take my professional cap off for a second. If you're gonna talk shit, expect to get punched in the mouth. That's
wow.
that's pretty much it, right? And if yeah, I'm sorry to say that, but it's the truth, and that's what happened. I found out who the kid was, and I almost broke his jaw. But like, these are things that happen because of someone talking smack, right? So yeah.
Yeah, which is the reality of being a creator, a cyber, even in cyber too. So
Hmm.
I think a lot of so I was talking with some marketers recently, like a lot of security professionals really care about things being like 100% perfect.
Hmm.
So they have so sometimes you get if it's not 100% perfect, then there's backlash by other folks in the industry. Instead of uplifting and supporting,
Hmm.
sometimes it's negative commentary. So, okay, let's talk about LinkedIn because I have been trying to talk about LinkedIn for a while, but I keep forgetting to bring it up. And also, who else has perfect is the enemy of getting it done? Very good point, Cindy. A wise person once said, you wrote it, so I'm going to attribute it to you, Cindy. You said it. Thank you. Okay, let's see. So, when you're thinking about your own content specifically for LinkedIn, like, how do you and like LinkedIn the channel and a lot of us here, if anyone's not on LinkedIn, like I don't believe it, right? Because this is about everyone here's a pretty much a marketer at a security company, and LinkedIn's a really huge channel for security companies. So when you're thinking about LinkedIn content in particular, how do you decide what's worth posting about versus what should not be bothered to be posted about?
Ooh, that's a good question. So the way I go about it, it goes back to now having a business. I talk about things that I see on the, you know, weekly, monthly basis or whatever's cooking. So for an example, like, I'm not going to reveal, obviously, I won't reveal the client, but like recently I have a friend that I, used to play soccer with, and he's a dentist now. He's been a dentist for about 5 years now. Kudos to him. And I always told him, like, dude, you have to, let me do it for free. Let me do a pen test. And he's always like, dude, like, only have like, you know, five. I think he had like 5 or 6 people. And
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not, that's not the point, man. Like, you're a presence, you're gonna, you can still get hacked, right? Like, because
Yeah,
anyone coming
you're
after
more
you,
likely to get hacked. You only have 5 or 6 people. You have
yeah,
like, like all of us, anyone here who works, a lot of us focus on the enterprise, right? So there's like a CISO and like 2,500 threat intel analysts and stuff like that. But like a dentist who has zero security,
exactly.
training. Sorry, I'm jumping in to just like
Go
be
for it.
like, I absolutely agree with you. So sorry, keep going. So your dentist friend was like, I can't afford a pen test, even though you offered to do it for free. And he's
Yep.
like, I don't have the correct, setup. So what happened?
Yeah, so we ended up getting hit with a cyber attack. It was recently, and I told him I think I put on I'm actually looking at the thing. I said I've been telling him for months, but I think I've been telling him for probably 2 years. But like I just put for months just for the post. But like, and he's like, dude, we're just small. He had an MSP company set up his. Whoops. We
Now,
yeah
whoops, I'm pulling up the post actually.
yeah. So that's it right there. So he's like, dude, we're too small. We have this MSP, we're gonna be fine. And then I end up getting hit. And this is what for my friend, and this is real. Like this is a real thing that happened. That's why I put like this is not some, AI did help me write it because I put my stuff in because I'm not the best
Mhm.
writer. But and I was like, hey, like look, this is gonna happen to you. And I went to his office. Oh man, when was it? I don't know, 6, 7 months ago. And just for giggles, I I know his, I know his practice name, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
So I just like took a sneak peek around because they use something called Zero Clients, and for the MSP they're using VMware VDI, so
Mhm.
Horizon. So they're all hosted in the cloud and whatever. So they don't really have operating systems. But anyhow, like I just went and I was like, oh, for an example, I'm just going to use this made up name, dentist office for the user. And I'm like, okay, dentist office for user for the PC1. And I'm like, I just need a sneak peek around. I'm like, damn, dentist office, dentist office, dentist. Man, don't tell me the password's the same. So literally, I told him like, hey, if I log in, can I get a free cleaning or whatever? I made a joke, and literally like I just put dentist office for the password, and I logged in. So and I told him like, hey, so and so, is your thing dentist office for everyone? He goes, oh yeah, it's easier for everyone to remember. And then you can look at password policies, and I just look, never expires. And then I'm like, this is not his problem. This is the MSP that's allowing him to tell you, like, if I owned an MSP, you're not going to tell me what to configure. Even though you're paying me, I'm like, I want to give you a recommendation and say, hey, we need to do this. We have to enable MFA. There's no option, right?
Yeah.
And for him, I guess the MSP was very lenient and they let him get away with murder and he got hacked. So yeah, this is pretty much this is real. Like they were able to pull from his Dentrix or whatever tool he used. They were able to get all his X-rays from his X-ray machine and all
Oh my
his
gosh.
private. Oh yeah, everything. And yeah, it was a nightmare. And so I told them they ended up finding that MSP, and I helped them implement. And that's what to make the what is it, something out of the bag. That's what decide for me to decide to start doing SOC services. And I'm like, there is a gap here. I think more people need to understand the cyber, like the locals where I'm at, right? Like
Yeah.
he's not gonna go and find, Deloitte or some other SHI or strategy or whoever's these big
No, he can't
names.
afford that. He's not going to work with all these huge companies,
Exactly.
right? So,
So yeah.
yeah. Cindy has a great question on this.
Yep.
Cindy says, LinkedIn is still a mystery to me. My posts that I thoughtfully craft and add insights don't get as much traction as my funny no value add posts. What is the secret for the posts on LinkedIn to actually get traction?
Ooh, I wish I can answer that. I'm not really a LinkedIn expert, but I think that's true because I think like the funny stuff. Remember, like I don't know. I'm going to speak on me. I'm not going to speak on everyone. Like my attention
Okay.
span as I got older, especially with social media, has shrunk. I'm going to admit it. Like I never had my like I would be able to focus super like in the zone. And now it's like, so you're scrolling on memes and stuff like that. So like if you find something funny, it's going to be engaging, right? Like if you have something educational, it's like, next. I want to laugh. Like the internet's all about that laughter and that
Mhm.
little quick high. And I think that's probably why like your funny ones, like you think it's like, oh, this is a dud or a lemon. And I want to post it and holy moly, this thing takes off. And it happened with one of my, like the Wi-Fi hacking video. Like I was just like, I feel like I have way better videos, more quality, more attention to detail, and I'll get maybe, a couple thousand views, right? Where I was like, oh, like it's all depending on what the audience wants to see. Like this, it has what 1,500 something impressions. Whereas like I remember I posted something last week and I had like 40,000, right? So it's like,
Mhm.
and I didn't think it was going to take off. So yeah, like this one, I thought like obviously ChatGPT. I think ChatGPT did this. I just put it in and literally that was his face. And actually, it's funny. Thank God no one knows him because I actually took his picture and I put it into
Oh
ChatGPT,
my gosh.
and so it sort of looks like him. That's
Well, it's
funny.
a cartoon. I assume a lot of
Yeah,
dentists kind of look like that.
yeah,
It's kind of like a general, any medical professional.
exactly,
We have another question in the Q&A.
absolutely.
Yeah. People want Daneo is saying people want something they can relate to. I think that's a great point.
Hmm.
And I think it's underutilized in marketing and cyber. And it's something that Maria, also my co-founder, talks about all the time, which is emotion, right?
Hmm.
Emotion in cyber. Emotion, it doesn't always have to be fear, uncertainty, and doubt, right? I think a lot of enterprise buyers don't appreciate that. But maybe for the small businesses, I kind of think an element of fear doesn't hurt. And an element of relatability never hurts.
Absolutely.
Never hurts. So Kristen's sharing um something let's see, also that in the chat, so people feel free to take a look at her link. Carrie has a question from the Q&A. I'm sorry, Carrie, I forgot to check the Q&A earlier. For security marketers selling to technical buyers like CISOs, how do you balance being authentically human on LinkedIn while still driving pipeline, not just engagement? And what signals are telling you that it's actually working? So Patrick, for you, maybe we could talk about because now you're selling and you're selling to to companies too. How can you tell, like, what signals can you tie back to your content creation so that tell you that your content creation is leading towards like business for ISP security?
Oh, that's lovely. So this is the God honest truth. Like again, my team, I'm not the best marketer. That's why we leave that to up to you folks. I do have a sales and marketing guy that really, really helps me out with that.
Hmm.
As far as InfoSec Pat brand and ISP security, they're two different things. I try not to interconnect them, right?
Hmm.
Because at the end of the day, like the InfoSec Pat brand is just about the media, just about that aspect of like showcasing tools and doing stuff in that regard. And like the ISP security, yeah, I have to put my founder hat. I have to be, it's weird to say like the boss of other people. And
It's
now it's
weird.
like, yeah, it is a little strange because, I'm the same,
Hmm.
I never want to disclose the Slack, but like I always show them how much I appreciate them and whatever. And so I just like I don't keep the two together, to be honest. Like
Yeah.
and how I drive, like I get the word from I'll come up with an idea, I'll throw it into Slack, and I'll say, hey guys, like this is something, you know, that's popped in this week or whatever. I found this on, in the news or whatever. Like right now, we just put out a newsletter today about Microsoft's passwords. That's something new. So like I didn't find that. I'm not going to take the credit. The marketing guy, he found it. He did his thing, and then we put together when the idea came about. So yeah, it's really hard for me to answer that. Hopefully, that answers it, but it's hard for me
That's
because there's
totally
two different
fine.
things.
Also, I want to point out that you're a very pro marketing CEO, and people, I think, on this call really appreciate that because we're all marketers, and occasionally we have the founder or the CEO who says, all of my ideas are the best, and you have to do things my way, even though I hired you.
No,
But so I like that, like you said, you don't know what you don't know. You're learning, you've become a creator by experimenting, it sounds like,
yeah,
and by just trying stuff and focusing really on what you like. to do.
Absolutely.
And now you've hired a marketer, like a sales and marketing person to help you kind of like take it to the next level and
Yep.
take it in that more professional, towards that ISP security side of the house too.
Absolutely. Because if I
Yeah.
would have kept doing it, I would have thought in the creator mind, and they're two different things, right? So that is not my efforts. I'm not going
Hmm.
to take, I'm not that kind of person that will ever say, "Oh, I'm the Mr. Know-it-all. It's either my way or the highway," because it takes a village. I can't do this all by myself, and like have to give credit when credit's due. And I always do that, like for the blue team guys and the pen testers and sales and marketing guy and whoever else is on the team. Like I give them their kudos all the time. So
That's awesome.
I'm just the face, the product, you
Oh, the
know.
product.
I don't know. I don't know. I think that's the word. I don't know. But
You're the talent, right? If
yeah.
we're gonna, can we? Okay, so Pat, people,
Yep.
work with you. They hire you to speak. They hire you for all sorts of things. I don't know how you can like manage all this. By the way, I talk to every creator on the show. I'm like, how do you do all these things? Because I'm really struggling, honestly. And I don't even have half the amount of stuff that you guys have. So you have your weekly video. You post content. You run now a security company, right? You do services. You do your pen testing and coming up SOC services, and you also speak. Like you do speaking in person, and you also do you work with brands as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I started that recently. Like I never wanted to like my vision wasn't to do that. Like if you asked me that 2, 3 years ago, even when brands would like try hack me or even hack the box, I never
Mhm.
wanted money. Like I was like, oh, like my thing was like, oh, throw me a sweatshirt and I'll make this video. It was more like that. And then until it rang a bell that like, you know, because man, I don't know how to say this. Like I was never driven by money because I grew up
Mhm.
with nothing. So I knew that's my mind is like, oh, like if I have $5, I had more than I grew up with. You know what I mean? Only those know what I'm talking about. So it's like the money was, if I can have a cool shirt to wear during the video, I appreciate that. I don't need
Yeah.
X amount of dollars to do a video to showcase your cool new certification, right? Like I'm just appreciated that you just even thought about me to do this, right? So that's what more of my like. So now it's like okay, now I would rather like for an example, if like I want to use Hack the Box because I'm a big Hack the Box fanboy. You can see like I have the Hack the Box here, Hack the
Oh,
Box
awesome.
there. Everywhere is Hack the Box. Like I love their certification. I love their training. I just wish they had videos with their training because, like I said, I hate reading. But that's my problem. That's not anyway. But so I always tell them like, hey man, like if you can just give me some vouchers and then like that's what I'm gonna do. Oh, I guess I just put that out there. But for B-side Tampa, okay. Well, B-side Tampa, I'm sponsoring B-side Tampa. So if anyone's going to B-side Tampa, I don't know, in 2 weeks, I
What
believe.
about besides St. Pete in January
Yeah,
too?
like I will be at B-side St. Pete. I need to talk to
Sorry, I lived in Tampa Bay for a while, so that's why I'm
yeah.
busting your
Yeah,
chops a
so
little. But yeah, so you're besides Tampa.
I think Wilson is still doing is I think he's still the coordinator. So I need to reach out to him. So yeah, so like I'm gonna be doing a giveaway, and it's gonna be on whatever pathway you want, from the CDSA, CPTS, CBBA, or CWES now, the Wi-Fi one, the new AI one, whatever I have a little spinning wheel. I'm trying to be cool, like when I go to these booths, it's like, oh, you have to have some cool stuff. And it's like, man, now I'm a company. So now I'm on the other side of the table. So how can I entertain people that walk by the booth? I'm like, ooh, this is weird. But it's cool. Like I have
You have
some
to
swag.
smile and
Yeah.
stand there and like
Yeah.
be like, "Hello, would you like to talk to me?"
Exactly. But I have a whole bunch of cool stuff. So, like I think it's cool. I put a lot of effort into the thoughts of getting the little swag and everything like that. Because I don't want like stuff that is just gonna like a little something like a pen that you can throw out. I want something that's gonna be meaningful. That was my
Yeah.
thought behind like useful, like these little going back to Hack the Box, like these little squishy things from Hack the Box. I'll sit here and be like a stress ball, right? For me, it's really useful. Um, but yeah, so. Yeah, I'll be at
That,
B-Side Tampa and I'm sponsoring that conference.
that's awesome. So anyone here in the Tampa Bay and Greater Florida can come, or who's just there because they're sponsoring, can stop by and actually talk to Patrick in person, which is cool. So how, Patrick, you're an extremely authentic person. I love talking to you. This has been really fun. Like we're not done. We're not over yet. Sorry, I'm not like trying to close the call. I'm just saying like,
Hmm.
how do you when you work with brands, how are you deciding like which brands match the Patrick Gorman InfoSec Pat sort of tone? Do you know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
what would be like a not fit or like what's a great fit?
Oh, I don't want to say a not fit, but I think great fits for me are products that I know and platforms that I know and I've used. So if you reached out to me and said, we have a new, AI platform that's gonna, I don't know, look up medical data, right? Like I don't think I'm going to work with that because I don't do that, right? Like I don't
Hmm.
really, look into that kind of stuff. But if you said, hey, I have an AI platform that it's going into, if I have an extension, which this is a product that I'm working with, so this is a an extension inside of a browser, and
Hmm.
it can connect to Copilot, Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, or whatever. And if you say, how I put that picture of my friend, and the thing is, like, I took his picture and it had his like Doctor So and So on his little shirt. So with that, if the image, because now they have JPEG, PNG, TIFF, GIF, etc., inside of their platform, if you upload this into there, and if you have a rule, company wide, and if you say if it finds anything that's confidential or PII, PHI,
Oh,
etc., it's going to block you from even uploading that to whatever AI LLM platform, right? So this is cool because I'm going to end up using this. This is something that I'm going to offer stuff like, even my father-in-law is a dentist as well, and he's not the one that I hacked. I already hacked
okay.
him, but he's not the one that this is actually a friend. Um, he gets free services because now I have dental stuff for free for life. But so now I don't need dental insurance, thank God. So yeah, so that's so yeah, that's
So
that.
that's like an example, right? It's like you're like eating the dog food of the brands you work with because you mentioned Hack the Box and you say you love their courses and you're like a partner, I think, or like, they work with
Yeah.
you. And then
Hmm.
this new company, which is something that are they working with you? Like they're sponsoring or your
Yeah. Yeah. I
media
want to have the
company?
founder on my channel very soon. I'm not going to announce it yet, but
Okay.
I'm still testing some stuff out with my own data, with their application, with their platform. And once that's all solidified, I think that's a word, everything is good. And then we will partner up and announce that partnership. But yeah,
Oh, that's awesome. What like do brands come to you or do you actively seek them out?
no, I don't seek anyone out.
Is this like the same story of the speaking? Like they were just like, "Hey, Patrick, come
Yeah.
speak."
Like, because I'm always in my own bubble. Like after the camera, like I go work out, I go arm wrestle, I work, and I don't really seek out attention per se. Like that's never been my thing. So
Hmm.
with this company, I was out in a conference. I'll leave the state because people can start research and stuff. It's not that hard if I say that the conference in the state is not a big conference, but they were a sponsor there, and I was a speaker there. I was a speaker
Hmm.
there. I was actually the keynote. Um, and they reached, they like, hey, I want you to check out this because it's a brand new product that they started, and like, hey, like I would love for you to check this out. We sat down, we checked it out, and then they're like, it's about the YouTube thing and about like I was like, I want to be known more for ISP security than the YouTube because that's where I'm trying to gravitate towards. But
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, man, like, I can probably use this for my company and offer this to clients and we can do resells and blah, blah,
Hmm.
blah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and that was the conversation. So this specific one, they reached out to me because they found me at a conference. All the other people, either reach out to me directly or like a friend of a friend's like, hey, like, these people are looking for content creators. or someone like that. Like I don't really go trying to reach out to people. And speaking of like what you said in the beginning of the chat today, right? Like I might have to bother you for that. So like that's someone that can speak on my behalf, right? Like if they, so we can talk about that offline. But like something like that, maybe I would probably have to gravitate towards because that would be a little more. Because like I said, I'm not good with money. I'm good with my
Hmm.
own money. I can save my own money. I'm pretty good with that. But like I hate asking for money, right? So if
Yeah.
someone can do
I
that,
also hate asking for money too, honestly.
yeah,
Like I'm like,
yeah. Like even for my business, if I didn't have everything in QuickBooks already, I'm like, I don't know. Get me next time. Buy me a green tea or something. I'll probably
just
fucking
get
be
me a root
bankrupt.
canal.
Yeah, exactly. Give me a root canal. Oh, thank God I don't need one of those. But yeah, exactly. Like, so now, like, if someone says, oh, how much is an external pen test? I'm like, okay, how many IPs? And then I can just go into, I'm like, oh, it's going to be X amount of dollars.
Hmm.
And I can just like literally, like, instead of, like, yeah, and that's where like I want to get out of that spot, and
Yeah.
have my sales and marketing guy when he gets on the sales calls, he can be the bad guy with the bad news, right? I can just like do the work and make sure the client is satisfied versus like, yeah, you're going to be paying us X amount of dollars. And I'll get into the escalation calls like, oh, I don't want to pay that because, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, okay, then I'll come in. But as far as
Hmm.
those first calls, I'd rather him take those calls. But that's more internal processes and stuff. But hopefully one day I don't have to take those calls anymore. Because it's really uncomfortable for me to like, ask for money. But
Yeah. Seems like, it ties back too also to the beginning of what you said. You started making content because you're like, I really like this Keith video where, his work, and we'll make sure to include a link to that in the post in the wrap up email so that other folks can see. You're like, I really like what he did. He helped me, and like you created content to share and show with others. So
yep,
yeah, it's hard to transition then to saying, and now I'm a creator or I have a company and now I have to ask more directly for things.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I mean, okay, so we have a few minutes left. Let's ask a little bit more. Anyone have remaining? Yeah, Keith Barker, thank you. If anyone
yeah,
else has other questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A or in the chat. I'm just going to also ask a few more questions. And I have a big
yeah.
list here. So
Go
I'm
for
trying
it.
to pick a
I
good
don't have a
one.
hard stop, so we're good.
Okay, awesome. One, okay. Cybersecurity content is extremely complex by nature, right? And you did a really good job on this call of like being extremely technical, I think, because like at the beginning you were like the SSH and and I was like, ooh, how are you now that you're selling into businesses, right? So you're selling into dentists and et cetera. Um, how are you turning these technical things into stuff that people like stop at and look when they're not technical, right? And this is something that marketers also struggle with because when we sell, we might be selling to the VP of, offensive blue teaming at a company, but then we also might be selling to the CFO or the procurement team or other people involved in like these bigger deals that are not technical at all. And we're selling a highly technical product.
hmm
Yeah.
So I think it goes back to the way I learn, right? Because, and this is the way I learn is the way I teach. So
Yeah.
if some people are like, oh, you're taking too long to get the point, to get over to the point. I'm like, yeah, but my brain works. I have to go to A to Z. I can't skip in the middle of the alphabet because in my brain, I need to go from A, right?
Yeah.
So, and then conveying a non-technical aspect to a technical and vice versa is really easy for me because I can switch it on and off. I can be very, very nerdy, really, really technical, and then I can just put it into layman terms, right?
Mhm.
I've I think it was just like I don't want to toot my own home, but I think that was a gift, like because I can, I guess there's a lot of stuff that people don't like. In college. I taught at a local, at Florida Atlantic University for computer engineering and micro engineering. So which was like soldering, having motherboards, putting like more electronic engineering. And I don't talk about that in my life, anywhere. So
Right. Where do you talk about that? At the grocery store?
yeah, exactly. Like, like there was so many cool things, like, even hacking cable boxes back in the day and flashing them and getting free pay-per-view and, these are all things that I did, and I didn't even know it was hacking. I just wanted to get stuff for free, because we were poor. So I was like, oh, we're going to figure out a way to get this no matter what, right? So I know I'm going off another tangent. So like I can take a complex topic and
Yeah.
put it into, and the one thing, kudos to Keith again, like he said, like if you can teach it, you really know it. So I remember
Yes.
getting that from him, and I'm like, okay, like I think I know DNS. It's like even if you don't have someone to teach it to your dog, teach yourself in the mirror, like say it out loud and don't think you're crazy because you're doing this. Is like, this is what you can do. And then obviously when you have someone in person, like you don't want to talk to another nerd. You want to talk to someone like a dentist, right? And if I say, hey man, like this is what DNS is, this is this, that, and the other. So can you explain to me what DNS is now? And if they can say, oh, it's an IP address that goes to a host name and blah, 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 and there's forward lookup zones and it goes to, the local host file first, and, however DNS works, then it's like, oh, snap. I guess I can really teach this and the person that's on the other end can receive it and understand it.
I
So,
love that. That's awesome. And then what a great way to end because I think that's a great lesson for marketers. Marketers should also know our product enough to give a demo. So if you think a lot of marketers come in to cyber and they maybe are from a different industry and they realize how technical the the thing they're selling is now, it's so technical. It's got all these acronyms. It has all these connections to all this part of the IT stack that maybe they're not familiar with. It's like everything is learnable. And in order to actually market your product, you should be able to like in person explain it to someone else, right? Like you should know that you don't have to be the expert, but you should know technically what your product does. So, Patrick, thank you so much for being on the show. Folks, Patrick Gorman is the face of InfoSec Pat. He is the CEO and founder of ISP Security, and we were so lucky to have him talk to us today for a full hour. Thank you so much, Patrick.
you're welcome. Take care, folks.
All right. I'll see everyone on the next one. And thank you, Patrick. Have a great day. Bye, everyone.
Bye
Awesome.
bye.
See you guys.